Bhagavad Gita, the complete story and summary in simple English. Part 1, Chapter 1. Arjuna's sorrow. Arjuna Vishada Yoga. Friend, imagine standing on a battlefield where two massive armies are ready to fight. On one side are the Pandavas and on the other are the Kauravas. The war is about to begin. Arjuna, one of the greatest warriors, asks Lord Krishna, who is his charioteer, to place their chariot between the two armies so he can see whom he has to fight. As Arjuna looks around, he sees something heartbreaking. He sees his grandfather Bhishma, his teacher Dronacharya, his cousins, his uncles, his friends, and many people he loves. Suddenly his confidence disappears. Arjuna's fear. Arjuna says, Krishna, how can I fight against my own family? Even if I win this war, what happiness will remain if the people I love are gone? His hands begin to shake. His mouth becomes dry. His famous bow, Gandhava, slips from his hands. His heart is filled with sadness and confusion. Why doesn't Arjuna want to fight? Arjuna gives several reasons. He says, if I kill my relatives, many families will be destroyed. Children will grow up without parents. Society will suffer. Even victory will feel meaningless. He believes that avoiding the war would be better than winning it by killing his own loved ones. A warrior who loses confidence. Until this moment, Arjuna was known as the bravest warrior, but now he feels completely helpless. He sits down in the chariot and says, Krishna, I cannot fight. This is not because he is physically weak. He is mentally and emotionally overwhelmed. Why is this chapter important? Many people think the Bhagavad Gita begins with Lord Krishna giving advice. But that is not true. It begins with a person who is confused, scared, and unable to decide what is right. That person is Arjuna. In many ways, Arjuna represents all of us. Whenever we face difficult decisions, family problems, fear, or confusion, we feel exactly like him. What can we learn from this chapter? Even the strongest people can feel afraid. Feeling confused is not a weakness before making an important decision. It is okay to pause and think. Real wisdom begins when we honestly accept that we need guidance. Simple summary. If I had to explain this entire chapter in one sentence, it would be this. Sometimes the biggest battle is not against others. It is the battle inside our own mind. That is exactly where the Bhagavad Gita begins. A quick look at the next chapter. In the next chapter, Lord Krishna finally begins to speak. He tells Arjuna that he is grieving for something he does not fully understand. Then Krishna explains one of the greatest truths in the Gita. The body may die, but the soul never dies. This marks the beginning of the timeless wisdom of the Bhagavad Gita. Chapter 2. The Yoga of Knowledge. Sankhya Yoga. Friend, in the first chapter, Arjuna was completely broken. He had put down his bow and refused to fight. Lord Krishna looked at him with kindness and said, Arjuna, this sadness does not suit a brave warrior. Stand up. Your confusion is making you forget who you really are. These were Krishna's first words of guidance. The soul never dies. Krishna began by explaining the greatest truth of life. He said, you are not just this body. You are the soul. Body is born, the body grows old, one day the body dies, but the soul never dies. It is eternal. To make it easier to understand, Krishna gave a beautiful example. He said, just as a person changes old clothes and wears new ones, the soul leaves an old body and enters a new one. So death is not the end. It is only a change. Why should Arjuna fight? Arjuna still felt guilty. He asked, if the soul never dies, why should I fight? Krishna replied, because this battle is your duty. You are not fighting for revenge or personal gain. You are fighting to protect justice and righteousness. Running away from your responsibility will not bring peace. Doing your duty honestly will focus on your actions, not the results. Krishna then gave one of the most famous teachings of the Bhagavad Gita. He said, you have the right to perform your actions, but you should not become attached to the results. In simple words, work with full dedication. Give your best. But do not let success make you arrogant or failure make you hopeless. Your job is to act. The result is not completely in your control. Stay calm. In every situation, Krishna explained that a wise person remains balanced. Whether life brings success or failure, happiness or sadness, praise or criticism, they remain calm. This does not mean they have no emotions. It means they do not allow emotions to control their decisions. The person with steady wisdom. Arjuna then asked, what does a truly wise person look like? Krishna answered. A wise person does not get carried away by pleasure, does not break down during pain, controls their desires, speaks, keeps their mind peaceful, trusts in truth instead of fear. Such a person is called Esthita Prajna, someone with steady wisdom. Why do people make wrong decisions? Krishna explained how the mind falls into trouble. It begins with constant attachment to something. Attachment creates desire. When desire is blocked, anger appears. Anger leads to confusion. Confusion destroys clear thinking. And when wisdom is lost, people make harmful decisions. That is why controlling the mind is so important. A simple example: imagine two students preparing for an exam. The first student studies sincerely because learning is important. The second studies only because they want to beat everyone else. If the results are disappointing, the first student learns and improves. The second becomes frustrated and loses confidence. The difference is not in the work, it is in the attitude. That is exactly what Krishna is teaching. What can we learn from this chapter? The soul is eternal, but the body is temporary. Never run away from your responsibilities. Focus on doing your best instead of worrying about the outcome. Stay balanced during success and failure. A peaceful mind makes better decisions. Simple summary: if I had to explain this entire chapter in one sentence, it would be this: do your duty with honesty, keep your mind steady, and remember that your true identity is the eternal soul, not the temporary body. This chapter forms the foundation of the entire Bhagavad. Quick look at the next chapter. In chapter 3, Karma Yoga, Arjuna asks another important question. If knowledge is so important, then why should I continue working? Lord Krishna then explains why action is unavoidable and why selfless work is one of the greatest paths to spiritual growth. Chapter 3. The Yoga of Action, Karma Yoga. Friend, after listening to Krishna's teachings about the soul and wisdom, Arjuna became confused again. He asked, Krishna, if knowledge is greater than action, then why are you asking me to fight this war? It was a very honest question. Krishna smiled and began to explain. No one can remain without action. Krishna said, Arjuna, no one can stay without doing anything. Even when you think you are doing nothing, your mind is thinking, your heart is beating, your body is breathing. Life itself is action. The real question is not whether you should act. The real question is how you should act. Do your duty. Krishna explained that every person has responsibilities. A teacher should teach, a doctor should heal, a farmer should grow food, a soldier should protect justice. Running away from your duty does not solve problems. Doing your duty with honesty is the right path. Selfish work versus selfless work. Krishna then explained an important difference. Some people work only for money, praise, or personal success. Others work because they want to do what is right and help others. Krishna said, the second kind of work is Karma Yoga. When you work without selfish attachment to the result, your work becomes pure. Learn from nature. Krishna pointed toward nature. The sun gives light every day. The rivers keep flowing. Trees give fruits and shade. None of them expect praise in return. Nature teaches us to keep giving and keep doing our duty. Humans should learn the same lesson. Why great people must set an example. Krishna said, whatever great people do, others follow. If honest people stop doing their duty, who will inspire society? That is why people with knowledge must continue working for the good of everyone. The biggest enemy. Arjuna then asked, what makes people do wrong things even when they know they are wrong? Krishna answered, it is uncontrolled desire. When desire becomes too strong, it turns into anger if it is not fulfilled. Anger clouds the mind. A confused mind loses wisdom. That is why controlling desires is so important. How to control desire. Krishna explained that the senses are powerful. The mind is stronger than the senses. The intellect is stronger than the mind. And the soul is higher than them all. When we use wisdom to guide our mind, instead of letting our desires control us, we make better choices. A simple example. Imagine two people working at the same job. One person works only for a salary. The other works sincerely because they enjoy helping people and doing excellent work. Both earn money. But the second person finds greater peace and satisfaction because their happiness does not depend only on rewards. This is the spirit of Karma Yoga. What can we learn from this chapter? No one can avoid action. Always perform your responsibilities. Honestly work without becoming attached to the results. Selfless service brings inner peace. Uncontrolled desire and anger are the biggest enemies of wisdom. Use your intellect to guide your mind, instead of letting your desires control you. Simple summary: if I had to explain this entire chapter in one sentence, it would be this: never run away from your responsibilities. Do your duty with honesty, without selfish expectations, and let your work become a service to others and to God. That is the true meaning of karma yoga. A quick look at the next chapter. In chapter 4, the yoga of knowledge and action, Arjuna becomes curious. He asks, Krishna, how can you say you taught this wisdom long ago when you were born in this age? Krishna then reveals a great secret about his divine nature and explains why he appears in the world whenever righteousness is in danger. Chapter 4. The Yoga of Knowledge and Action, Jnana Karma Sannyasa Yoga. Friend, by now Arjuna had begun to understand the importance of duty and selfless action. But one question still puzzled him. Krishna said that he had taught this eternal wisdom to the sun god long ago. Arjuna was surprised. He asked, Krishna, you were born in this age, and the sun god existed long before. How could you have taught him? Krishna smiled and revealed a great secret: the divine nature of Krishna. Krishna said, both you and I have taken many births. You do not remember them, but I remember them all. He explained that although he is unborn and eternal, he appears in the world whenever righteousness is in danger. Then he spoke one of the most famous teachings of the Bhagavad Gita. Whenever goodness declines and evil becomes powerful, I appear to protect the righteous, destroy evil, and restore righteousness. This means God guides the world whenever balance is lost. Why does God come to earth? Krishna explained that his purpose is not to gain power or wealth. He comes to protect good people, remove injustice, restore truth and righteousness, guide humanity back to the right path. His actions are always for the welfare of the world. The power of true knowledge. Krishna then explained the importance of knowledge. He said, knowledge is like a bright fire. Just as fire turns wood into ashes, true knowledge burns away ignorance and wrong understanding. When people truly understand who they are and why they are here, fear and confusion begin to disappear. Action with wisdom. Krishna reminded Arjuna that simply working is not enough. Work should be guided by wisdom. A wise person knows the difference between right and wrong, acts without selfish motives, does not become proud after success, does not lose hope after failure. Such actions bring peace instead of stress. The meaning of sacrifice. Yajna. Arjuna had heard about sacrifices and rituals. Krishna explained that sacrifice is much deeper than offering things into a sacred fire. Every action done with a pure heart for the benefit of others is also a form of sacrifice. Teaching someone, helping a person in need, serving society, working honestly. All these can become sacred when done without selfishness. Learn from a good teacher. Krishna gave another important lesson. He said, if you truly wish to gain wisdom, approach a wise teacher with humility. Ask sincere questions and be willing to learn. Knowledge grows when there is respect, curiosity, and an open mind. Knowledge removes fear. Krishna assured Arjuna even if someone has made many mistakes in the past, true knowledge can transform their life. When ignorance disappears, fear, guilt, and confusion also begin to fade. A person who understands truth gains inner confidence. A simple example: imagine you are walking in complete darkness. Every step feels frightening because you cannot see the road. Then someone switches on a light. The road has not changed, but now you can see clearly. Knowledge works in exactly the same way. It does not change reality. It helps you understand it. What can we learn from this chapter? God appears whenever righteousness needs protection. True knowledge removes ignorance, and fear. Work should always be guided by wisdom. Selfless service is a sacred form of worship. A good teacher can help us discover the truth. Wisdom transforms a person's life. Simple summary: if I had to explain this entire chapter in one sentence, it would be this: when knowledge guides our actions and our actions are performed without selfishness, life becomes meaningful, peaceful, and closer to God. This is the heart of chapter 4. A quick look at the next chapter. In chapter 5, the Yoga of Renunciation, Arjuna asks another important question. Which path is better, giving up action or continuing to work without attachment? Krishna then explains that true renunciation is not about leaving the world. It is about letting go of selfish attachment while performing our duties with sincerity. Chapter 5. The Yoga of Renunciation, Karma Sannyasa Yoga, friend. After hearing Krishna explain the importance of knowledge and selfless action, Arjuna became confused once again. He asked Krishna, "Sometimes you praise renunciation and other times you ask me to keep working. Which path is actually better?" Krishna smiled and gave a simple answer. Renunciation does not mean running away. Krishna said, both paths can lead to spiritual growth. But for most people, selfless action is the easier and better path. Many people think renunciation means leaving home, giving up work, or living in a forest. Krishna explained that this is not the real meaning. True renunciation means giving up selfishness, ego, and attachment. Not giving up your responsibilities. Keep working, but stay detached. Krishna taught Arjuna, do your duty, but don't let your happiness depend only on success or rewards. Work sincerely, give your best effort, but don't become proud when you succeed or broken when you fail. A peaceful mind comes from doing the right thing, not from chasing results. Who is a wise person? Krishna described the qualities of a truly wise person. Such a person treats everyone with respect, does not hate anyone, remains calm during success and failure, controls anger and selfish desires, finds joy within instead of depending on outside things. Their peace comes from within, not from the changing world. Seeing everyone equally, Krishna shared one of the most beautiful teachings of the Gita. He said, "A truly wise person sees the same divine soul in everyone, whether someone is rich or poor, educated or uneducated, strong or weak. The soul inside every living being is equally precious. When we understand this, we naturally become kinder and more compassionate. Real happiness comes from within. Krishna explained that pleasures from the outside world are temporary. Money, fame, luxury. They may bring happiness for a while, but they cannot give lasting peace. True happiness comes from a peaceful mind, a clear conscience, good actions, and a close connection with God. Control the mind. Krishna reminded Arjuna that the mind can become either our greatest friend or our greatest enemy. If we let anger, greed, jealousy, or fear control us, we lose our peace. But if we train the mind through wisdom and self-control, it becomes a powerful guide. A simple example: imagine two people doing the same job. One works only for money and recognition. The other works because they love helping people and doing their duty sincerely. Both may receive the same salary, but the second person experiences greater peace because their satisfaction comes from their attitude, not just their reward. This is the spirit of Karma Sannyasa Yoga. What can we learn from this chapter? True renunciation means giving up attachment, not responsibility. Selfless work brings inner peace. Treat everyone with equality and respect. Lasting happiness comes from within, not from material things. A calm and disciplined mind leads to a joyful life. Simple summary: if I had to explain this entire chapter in one sentence, it would be this: live in the world, do your duties with honesty, let go of selfish attachment, and you will discover true peace within yourself. That is the essence of Chapter 5. A quick look at the next chapter. In Chapter 6, the Yoga of Meditation, Dhyana Yoga. Krishna teaches Arjuna how to control the mind through meditation. He explains why the mind is naturally restless, how regular practice can make it peaceful, and why a person who masters the mind becomes their own best friend. Chapter 6. The Yoga of Meditation, Dhyana Yoga. Friend, by now Arjuna had understood the importance of selfless action, but he still had one big problem. He said to Krishna, "I understand your teachings, but my mind never stays still. It keeps wandering from one thought to another. How can I ever find peace?" Krishna smiled because he knew this was a question every human being asks. The mind can be your friend or your enemy. Krishna said, a controlled mind is your greatest friend, but an uncontrolled mind becomes your greatest enemy. When the mind is calm, we make better decisions. When it is filled with anger, fear, or desire, we often make mistakes. So the goal is not to stop the mind completely, but to train it. What is meditation? Krishna explained that meditation is a way to make the mind peaceful. He advised Arjuna to sit in a clean and quiet place, keep the body and spine. Breathe, naturally focus the mind on God, practice regularly with patience. Meditation is not about escaping life. It is about preparing the mind to face life with clarity and peace. Why is the mind so restless? Arjuna admitted, Krishna, controlling the mind feels as difficult as controlling the wind. Krishna agreed. He said, yes, the mind is restless, but with regular practice and detachment it can be controlled. In other words, don't expect perfection in one day. A peaceful mind is built little by little. Through daily effort, balance is the key. Krishna taught another important lesson. He said that balance is essential in every part of life. A person cannot meditate properly if they eat too much or too little, sleep too much or too little, work without rest, or avoid work completely. A balanced lifestyle helps create a balanced mind. What happens to someone who fails? Arjuna had another concern. He asked, what if someone begins the spiritual path but cannot complete it? Is all their effort wasted? Krishna answered with great compassion, no sincere effort is ever wasted. Every good action, every prayer, every act of kindness, every step toward truth, always brings positive results. Even if a person does not reach the goal in one lifetime, their spiritual progress continues. Nothing good is ever lost. Who is the greatest yogi? Krishna explained that there are many kinds of spiritual people. Some focus on knowledge, some perform rituals, some practice discipline. But he said, the greatest yogi is the one who loves God with sincere devotion and remembers him with faith. Love, faith, and a pure heart bring a person closest to. Simple example, imagine learning to play a musical instrument. At first, your hands make mistakes. You may even feel like giving up. But with daily practice, your skills improve. Meditation works the same way. The mind may wander today, tomorrow it may wander less. One day, it becomes peaceful. What can we learn from this chapter? Your mind can become your best friend or your worst enemy. Meditation helps bring peace and clarity. Regular practice is more important than perfection. Balance in daily life creates balance in the mind. No sincere spiritual effort is ever wasted. Loving God with faith is the highest form of yoga. Simple summary: if I had to explain this entire chapter in one sentence, it would be this: train your mind with patience. Live a balanced life, and keep your heart connected to God. A peaceful mind is the greatest strength a person can have. That is the essence of dhyana yoga. A quick look at the next chapter. In chapter 7, the yoga of knowledge and wisdom, Jnana Vijnana Yoga, Krishna reveals a deeper truth about himself. He explains who he really is, how the entire universe exists through his divine power, and why only a few people truly recognize the presence of God in everything around them. Chapter 7. The Yoga of Knowledge and Realization, Jnana Vijnana Yoga. Friend, after explaining meditation, Krishna was ready to reveal an even deeper truth. He said to Arjuna, now listen carefully. I will explain who I truly am and how this entire universe is connected to me. Once you understand this, very little will remain unknown. This chapter is about knowing God, not only through information, but through real experience. Everything comes from God. Krishna said, I am the source of everything. Earth, the water, the fire, the air, the sky, the mind, the intellect, and even the ego, all are part of his divine energy. Everything in the universe exists because of God. Nothing exists independently of him. God is everywhere. Krishna gave many beautiful examples. He said, I am the taste in water. I am the light of the sun and the moon. I am the sacred sound in all knowledge. I am the strength of the strong and the wisdom of the wise. His message was simple. God is not limited to temples or places of worship. His presence can be experienced throughout creation. Why don't people recognize God? Arjuna wondered. If you are everywhere, why doesn't everyone realize it? Krishna answered, because people become distracted by desires, pride, greed, and attachment. These things cover their understanding, just as clouds hide the sun. The sun is still there. It is simply hidden from view. In the same way, God's presence is always there, but our restless minds often fail to notice it. 4 types of devotees. Krishna explained that people come to him for different reasons. Some pray during times of suffering. Some seek wealth or success. Some want knowledge. and some simply love God without expecting anything in return. Krishna welcomed all of them. But he said the dearest devotee is the one who loves God purely because of faith and devotion. The rarest person, Krishna, then said something very special. After many lifetimes of learning and experience, a wise person realizes that everything belongs to God. Such a person becomes humble. They see God in every part of life. Krishna said that such souls are very rare. Different forms of worship. Krishna also explained that people worship in different ways. Some worship different forms of the divine. Some pray for specific blessings. Krishna said that sincere faith always has value, but the highest understanding is to recognize the one supreme reality behind everything. A simple example: imagine electricity flowing through many different devices. A bulb gives light. A fan creates cool air. A heater produces warmth. The devices are different, but the electricity is the same. In the same way, all living beings appear different, but the same divine presence exists within them. What can we learn from this chapter? God is the source of the entire universe. His presence can be experienced everywhere. Desires and ego prevent us from recognizing the truth. People approach God for different reasons, but pure devotion is the highest. Wisdom grows when we see God's presence in all creation. Simple summary: if I had to explain this entire chapter in one sentence, it would be this: God is present in everything around us. When we remove ego, greed, and selfish desires, we begin to see His presence everywhere. This is the heart of Jnana Vajnana Yoga. A quick look at the next chapter. In Chapter 8, the Yoga of the Imperishable Absolute, Akshara Brahma Yoga, Arjuna asks some of the deepest questions in the Bhagavad Gita. He wants to know, what is Brahman? What is the soul? What happens after death? And why is remembering God at the final moment of life so important? Krishna answers these questions with profound yet practical wisdom. Chapter 8. The Yoga of the Imperishable Absolute, Akshara Brahma Yoga. Friend, after hearing about God's divine nature, Arjuna's curiosity grew even stronger. He respectfully asked Krishna, Lord, what is Brahman? What is the soul? What is karma? And what happens to a person after death? These were some of the deepest questions anyone could ask. Krishna patiently answered each one. What is Brahman? Krishna said, Brahman is the eternal, unchanging, supreme reality. Everything in this world changes. People grow old, seasons change, empires rise and fall, even stars are born and eventually disappear. But Brahman never changes. It has no beginning and no end. It is the eternal truth behind the entire universe. What is the soul? Krishna explained that the soul is a tiny, eternal part of the Supreme. The body is temporary. The soul is everlasting. When the body comes to an end, the soul continues its journey. Death is not the end of life. It is simply a transition from one stage to another. The importance of the final moment. Krishna then shared one of the most powerful teachings of this chapter. He said, whatever a person remembers at the final moment of life, that state influences their next journey. This does not mean we should think about God only at the end of life. Instead, Krishna teaches us to remember God throughout our lives. If our mind is trained to stay connected with Him every day, it will naturally remember Him even in our final moments. Live with constant awareness. Krishna advised Arjuna, remember me while performing your duties. This means we do not have to leave our family, career, or responsibilities. We should continue doing our work honestly while keeping our heart connected to God. Spirituality is not separate from daily life. It should become part of daily life. 2 different paths. Krishna also spoke about 2 symbolic paths that souls may follow after death. One path leads towards spiritual liberation. The other leads back into the cycle of birth and death. The deeper message is simple. A life lived with wisdom, devotion, and selfless actions moves us closer to liberation. A life driven only by attachment and selfish desires keeps us bound to the cycle of suffering. Why daily practice matters. Arjuna understood that the final moment of life cannot be controlled. Krishna agreed. That is why he emphasized daily practice, every prayer, every good deed, every act of kindness. Every moment of remembering God gradually shapes our character and prepares our mind for every stage of life. A simple example: imagine a musician preparing for a concert. They do not practice only on the day of the performance. They practice every single day. Then, when the important moment arrives, their skills come naturally. Krishna says our spiritual life works in exactly the same way. If we remember God every day, our faith becomes natural and effortless. What can we learn from this chapter? Brahman is the eternal and unchanging supreme reality. The soul never dies. It only changes its. Our thoughts and habits shape our future. Remembering God should become a daily practice, not just something we do during difficult times. Living with devotion, while fulfilling our responsibilities, leads us towards spiritual freedom. Simple summary: if I had to explain this entire chapter in one sentence, it would be this: live every day with honesty, devotion, and remembrance of God, because the way you live your life prepares you for your final journey. That is the essence of Akshara Brahma Yoga. A quick look at the next chapter. In Chapter 9, the Yoga of Royal Knowledge and Royal Secret, Rajavidya Rajagahya Yoga. Krishna reveals one of the greatest secrets of the Bhagavad Gita. He explains why his love is available to everyone, why sincere devotion is more valuable than wealth or rituals, and how even the simplest offering, when made with love, reaches him. Chapter 9. The Yoga of Royal Knowledge and Royal Secret, Rajavidya Rajagahya Yoga. Friend, by now Arjuna had learned about the soul, duty, meditation, and the eternal nature of God. Now Krishna was ready to reveal what he called the greatest knowledge and the deepest secret. He said, Arjuna, because you trust me and listen with an open heart, I will now share the most precious wisdom of all. The greatest secret. Krishna explained, I am present everywhere, and everything exists within me. The entire universe is supported by his divine power, yet he remains beyond everything. This is difficult to understand with logic alone, but it can be experienced through faith and devotion. God loves everyone equally. Krishna made something very clear. He said, I do not favor one person over another. I love everyone equally. Whether someone is rich or poor, powerful or ordinary, highly educated or uneducated, God's love is available to everyone. The only difference is whether a person chooses to turn toward him. Devotion is more important than wealth. Krishna then gave one of the most comforting messages in the Bhagavad Gita. He said, if someone offers me a leaf, a flower, a fruit, or even a little water with sincere love and devotion, I gladly accept it. Value of the offering is not important. The love behind it is. A small gift given with a pure heart is more precious than expensive offerings made only for show. Offer every action to God. Krishna encouraged Arjuna to dedicate every part of life to God. He said, whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you give, whatever you sacrifice, do it as an offering to me. This means that even ordinary daily activities can become sacred when they are done with honesty, gratitude, and devotion. Work becomes worship when it is done with the right attitude. No one is beyond hope. Krishna shared another beautiful promise. He said, even if a person has made many mistakes, if they sincerely turn toward me with true devotion, they can transform their life. God does not judge people only by their past. He looks at the sincerity of their present heart. Every person has the opportunity to change. No one is beyond redemption. Simple faith is enough. Krishna explained that we do not need complicated rituals to reach God. A sincere heart, honest actions, kindness toward others, and genuine devotion, these are enough to bring us closer to Him. God values love more than outward appearance. A simple example: imagine a small child giving a handmade birthday card to their parents. The card may not be expensive, it may not be perfect, but the parents treasure it because it is filled with love. Krishna says our devotion is like that. God looks at the love in our hearts, not the size of our offering. What can we learn from this chapter? God is present everywhere and supports the entire universe. His love is equal for everyone. Sincere devotion is greater than expensive rituals. Every honest action can become an offering to God. No one is too far from God if they sincerely choose the right path. Simple summary: if I had to explain this entire chapter in one sentence, it would be this: God does not ask for greatness, wealth, or perfection. He simply asks for a sincere heart filled with love, faith, and devotion. That is the essence of Rajavidya Rajagahya Yoga. A quick look at the next chapter in Chapter 10. The Yoga of Divine Glories, Vibhuti Yoga. Arjuna wants to understand God's greatness even more. He asks, Lord, how can I recognize your presence in this vast universe? Krishna then reveals his divine manifestations, showing how his greatness can be seen in nature, wisdom, strength, beauty, and every extraordinary aspect of creation. Chapter 10. The Yoga of Divine Glories, Vibhuti Yoga. Friend, after hearing about God's unconditional love and his presence everywhere, Arjuna's faith became even stronger. He said to Krishna, Lord, I now understand that you are the Supreme Being. But how can ordinary people recognize your presence in this vast universe? Krishna smiled and decided to reveal his divine glories, known as Vibhutis. God is the source of everything, Krishna said. I am the source of everything. Everything begins with me, and everything is sustained by me. The entire universe exists because of his divine power. Nothing can exist independently of him. When people truly understand this, they naturally develop love, gratitude, and devotion. How can we see God? Krishna explained that although he is beyond human eyes, his greatness can be seen everywhere. He gave many beautiful examples. He said, among lights, I am the radiant sun among stars, I am the moon among mountains, I am the mighty Himalayas among rivers, I am the sacred Ganga among trees, I am the Ashvatha people tree among birds, I am Garuda among warriors, I am courage among wise people, I am wisdom itself. His message was simple. Whenever you see greatness, beauty, strength, knowledge, kindness, or excellence, remember that it reflects a tiny part of God's infinite glory. God lives in every heart. Krishna then made another powerful statement. He dwells in the hearts of all living beings. He is not far away. He is present within every person. Whenever we act with love, truth, compassion, or wisdom, we are allowing the divine presence within us to shine. Why does Krishna reveal his glories? Krishna was not trying to impress Arjuna. He wanted to help him understand that God is not limited to one place, one form, or one moment. The entire universe is filled with signs of his presence. When we begin to notice them, our faith becomes stronger. Arjuna's faith grows after hearing these divine glories. Arjuna was filled with wonder. He realized that Krishna was not just his friend or charioteer. He was the Supreme Lord, the creator and sustainer of the universe. Arjuna's respect and devotion became even deeper. A simple example: imagine standing on a mountain during sunrise. You see the golden light spreading across the sky. Or imagine looking at millions of stars on a clear night, or watching the endless waves of the ocean. Such moments fill us with awe. Krishna says these moments remind us of God's greatness. Nature itself is like a window through which we can glimpse his divine glory. What can we learn from this chapter? God is the source of all creation. His presence can be seen in everything that is beautiful, powerful, wise, and extraordinary. Every good quality reflects a part of God's glory. God lives in the heart of every living being. Remembering God's greatness fills life with gratitude and humility. Simple summary: if I had to explain this entire chapter in one sentence, it would be this. Whenever you see beauty, wisdom, strength, kindness, or greatness in this world, remember that it is a small reflection of God's infinite glory. That is the essence of Vibhuti Yoga. A quick look at the next chapter in Chapter 11, the Yoga of the Universal Form, Vishvarupa Darshana Yoga. Arjuna makes an extraordinary request. He says, Lord, I believe everything you have told me, but if you think I am worthy, please show me your true universal form. Krishna grants this request, and Arjuna witnesses one of the most awe-inspiring visions ever described in the Bhagavad Gita. Chapter 11. The Yoga of the Universal Form, Vishvarupa Darshana Yoga. Friend, after hearing about Krishna's divine glories, Arjuna's heart was filled with faith. He said, Lord, I completely believe everything you have told me. But if you think I am worthy, please show me your true universal form. Krishna smiled. He knew that no ordinary human eyes could witness such a divine vision, so he blessed Arjuna with divine sight, allowing him to see what no one else could. The universal form appears in the very next moment. Arjuna saw something beyond imagination. Krishna's human form disappeared. Instead, Arjuna saw a limitless cosmic form. He saw countless faces, countless eyes, countless arms, countless divine ornaments, brilliant light shining in every direction. It was as if thousands of suns had risen in the sky at the same time. The entire universe existed within Krishna, past, present, future. Everything was part of his infinite form. Arjuna sees the whole universe. As Arjuna looked closer, he saw something even more astonishing. He saw the planets, the stars, the mountains, the rivers, the gods, the sages, every living being. Everything existed inside Krishna's universal form. Nothing was outside him. Krishna was not just standing in the universe. The universe itself existed within him. Time is also God. Then Arjuna witnessed a terrifying sight. He saw many great warriors entering Krishna's blazing mouths. They were being consumed like rivers flowing into the ocean. Arjuna became frightened. He asked, "Lord, who are you in this magnificent and terrifying form?" Krishna replied, "I am Time, the destroyer of worlds." He explained that every living being is born, lives for a while, and one day leaves the world. Time moves everything forward. No one can stop it. Arjuna's fear and devotion. Seeing this limitless form, Arjuna's pride completely disappeared. He folded his hands and bowed before Krishna. He said, "Lord, I did not know your true greatness. I treated you like a close friend, sometimes joking with you and speaking casually. Please forgive me for any disrespect." Arjuna now understood that Krishna was not just his charioteer. He was the supreme lord of the entire universe. Krishna returns to his gentle form. Arjuna humbly prayed, "Lord, this universal form is too overwhelming for me. Please show me your gentle form again." Krishna smiled and returned to his familiar, loving human form. The moment Arjuna saw him again, his heart became peaceful. Krishna reminded him, "This universal form is very difficult to behold. It cannot be seen through ordinary eyes, rituals, or learning alone. It is revealed through my grace and sincere devotion." A simple example: imagine looking at a single drop of water. Now imagine suddenly seeing the entire ocean. The drop is tiny. The ocean is vast beyond imagination. That is how Arjuna felt. He had known Krishna as a friend. Now he realized that Krishna was the infinite source of the entire universe. What can we learn from this chapter? God is far greater than the human mind can fully understand. The entire universe exists within God's divine power. Time is part of God's plan, and everything changes with time. Pride disappears when we truly recognize God's greatness. Sincere devotion brings us closer to experiencing the divine. Simple summary: if I had to explain this entire chapter in one sentence, it would be this: God is infinite, timeless, and present in the whole universe. When we truly recognize His greatness, our ego disappears and our hearts naturally fill with devotion. That is the essence of Vishvarupa Darshana Yoga. A quick look at the next chapter. In chapter 12, the Yoga of Devotion, Bhakti Yoga, Arjuna asks another heartfelt question. He says, "Lord, who is the better devotee? The one who worships your personal form with love, or the one who meditates on the formless absolute?" Krishna answers by explaining the true meaning of devotion and the qualities of his most beloved devotees. Chapter 12. The Yoga of Devotion, Bhakti Yoga. Friend, after witnessing Krishna's magnificent universal form, Arjuna's faith became unshakable. However, one question still remained in his heart. He asked, "Lord, who is the better devotee? The one who worships you in your personal form with love, or the one who meditates on the formless, eternal Supreme?" Krishna smiled and answered with great kindness, "The path of devotion." Krishna said, "Both paths can lead to me. But for most people, loving and remembering my personal form is easier. The human mind naturally connects with someone it can love, trust, and remember. Pure devotion makes the journey to God. If someone cannot meditate all the time, Krishna understood that not everyone could spend hours in meditation. So he gave Arjuna a practical path. He said, "If you can constantly remember me, do that. If that feels difficult, then practice remembering me every day. If even that seems hard, then dedicate your daily work to me. And if you cannot do that perfectly, at least perform your duties without selfish attachment." Every sincere step brings you closer to God. The qualities of a true devotee. Krishna then described the kind of person he loves the most. A true devotee is kind to everyone, does not hate anyone, is humble and free from pride, forgives easily, remains calm during success and failure, controls anger and selfish desires, is truthful, and trusts God in every situation. Such a person spreads peace wherever they go. Love is greater than rituals. Krishna explained that he is not impressed by expensive offerings or complicated ceremonies. What truly reaches him is a sincere heart, pure love, honest actions, compassion toward others, unshakable faith. Devotion is not about showing the world how religious we are. It is about building a genuine relationship with God. Stay calm in every situation. Krishna said that his dear devotee remains balanced. Whether people praise them or criticize them, whether life brings comfort or hardship, whether they gain or lose something, they remain peaceful because their happiness comes from God, not from changing circumstances. Love everyone. Krishna reminded Arjuna that devotion is incomplete if we do not treat others with kindness. Since God lives in every heart, serving people with love is also a way of serving God. The more compassion we show, the closer we come to. Simple example: imagine a child who loves their parents. The child doesn't buy expensive gifts. Instead, they speak honestly, help when needed, and care for them with love. That simple love means more than anything money can buy. Krishna says our relationship with God should be just like that: simple, honest, and filled with love. What can we learn from this chapter? Devotion is one of the easiest and most beautiful paths to God. God values love more than rituals. Every sincere effort toward God has value. A true devotee is kind, humble, peaceful, and forgiving. Loving people is also a way of loving God. Simple summary: if I had to explain this entire chapter in one sentence, it would be this: God does not ask for perfection. He asks for a sincere heart filled with love, kindness, faith, and devotion. That is the essence of Bhakti Yoga. A quick look at the next chapter. In chapter 13, the yoga of the field and the knower of the field, Kshetrajna Vibhaga Yoga, Arjuna asks another profound question. He wants to understand, what is the body? Who is the soul? What is true knowledge? And how can we recognize the difference between the temporary and the eternal? Krishna answers by revealing the relationship between the body, the soul, and the supreme reality. Chapter 13. The field and the knower of the field, Kshetrajna Vibhaga Yoga. Friend, after explaining the beauty of devotion, Krishna wanted Arjuna to understand another important truth. He said, "Now I will explain the difference between the body and the soul. Once you understand this, many of your doubts will disappear." This chapter teaches us who we truly are. What is the field? Krishna called the human body the field, Kshetra. He explained that the body is like a field where life takes place. It grows, it changes, it experiences happiness and pain. One day it grows old and dies. Just like a field changes with the seasons, the body also changes throughout life. Who is the knower of the field? Krishna then asked Arjuna to think about something. Who is aware of all these changes? The answer is the soul. Krishna called the soul the knower of the field, Kshetrajna. The body changes every day, but the soul remains the same. It silently watches every experience without losing its true nature. The difference between the body and the soul. Krishna explained that many people believe they are only their body. Because of this, they become attached to appearance, wealth, and temporary things. But true wisdom begins when we realize, I have a body, but I am not the body. I am the eternal soul living within it. This understanding removes fear and attachment. What is true knowledge? Arjuna wanted to know what real knowledge meant. Krishna said, true knowledge is not just reading books or remembering facts. A truly wise person is humble, honest, kind, patient, free from pride, respectful toward others, eager to learn the truth. Knowledge is reflected in character, not just in information. The supreme reality. Krishna then spoke about the supreme reality. He said, the supreme is present everywhere. It has no beginning and no end. It exists inside every living being. It supports the entire universe while remaining beyond it. Even though people cannot always see God, His presence fills everything. Why do we suffer? Krishna explained that suffering begins when we identify only with the body. We become attached to wealth, beauty, success, praise. But all these things are temporary. When we remember that the soul is eternal, we stop depending on temporary things for lasting happiness. A simple example: imagine driving a car. The car helps you travel, but you are not the car. If the car gets old or damaged, the driver remains different from it. Krishna says the body is like the car, and the soul is like the driver. We should take care of the body, but never forget our true identity. What can we learn from this chapter? The body is temporary, but the soul is eternal. True knowledge changes our character, not just our memory. God is present in every living being. Attachment to temporary things causes suffering. Real peace comes from knowing our true spiritual identity. Simple summary: if I had to explain this entire chapter in one sentence, it would be this: your body is temporary, but your soul is eternal. The moment you understand this difference, you begin to live with wisdom, peace, and freedom. That is the essence of Kshetrajna Vibhaga Yoga. A quick look at the next chapter. In chapter 14, the Yoga of the Three Gunas, Gunatraya Vibhaga Yoga, Arjuna asks another important question. If every soul is the same, why do people have such different personalities and behaviors? Krishna explains that the three qualities of nature, sattva goodness, rajas passion, and tamas ignorance, shape human behavior and influence the way we live. Chapter 14. The Yoga of the Three Gunas, Gunatraya Vibhaga Yoga. Friend, in the previous chapter, Krishna explained the difference between the body and the soul, but Arjuna still had another question. He asked, Lord, if every soul is eternal and equal, why do people behave so differently? Why are some people calm and wise while others are restless or lazy? Krishna smiled and replied, Arjuna, the answer lies in the three qualities of nature, called the three gunas. Every human being is influenced by them. The three gunas. Krishna explained that all people are influenced by three natural qualities. Sattva, the quality of purity and wisdom; rajas, the quality of action and desire; tamas, the quality of ignorance and laziness. Every person has all three. The only difference is that one quality may be stronger than the others at a particular time. Sattva, the quality of purity. Krishna said, when sattva is dominant, a person becomes peaceful, honest, kind, wise, patient, eager to learn, helpful to others. Such people naturally enjoy knowledge and inner peace. However, Krishna also gave a warning. Even goodness can become a form of attachment if a person becomes proud of being better than others. True wisdom is always humble. Rajas, the quality of action. Krishna then explained rajas. A person influenced by rajas is energetic, ambitious, hardworking, always chasing goals, motivated by success, wealth, or recognition. Rajas is not bad. In fact, it helps people work and achieve great things. But when desires become endless, they create stress, competition, and dissatisfaction. No matter how much a person gains, they always want more. Tamas, the quality of ignorance. Finally, Krishna described tamas. A person under its influence may avoid responsibility, be lazy, delay important work, act without thinking, become careless or confused, lose interest in learning and self-improvement. Tamas hides wisdom and makes it difficult to move forward in life. Everyone has all three. Krishna reminded Arjuna, no one is made of only one guna. For example, when you wake up early to study or help someone, sattva is active. When you work hard to achieve your goals, rajas is active. When you waste time without purpose or ignore your responsibilities, tamas is active. These qualities keep changing throughout life. Rising above the three gunas. Arjuna then asked, can a person rise above these three gunas? Krishna answered, yes. A person who remains calm in success and failure, does not become controlled by praise or criticism, performs their duties without selfish attachment, and develops sincere devotion to God, gradually rises above all three gunas. Such a person finds lasting peace. A simple example: imagine three drivers trying to control the same car. One drives calmly and wisely, that is sattva. Another drives very fast because they are impatient, that is rajas. The third falls asleep while driving, that is tamas. A wise person learns to stay in control instead of letting any of these qualities control them. That is what Krishna teaches. What can we learn from this chapter? Every person is influenced by sattva, rajas, and tamas. Sattva brings wisdom and peace, rajas creates action and ambition, but can also create attachment. Tamas leads to laziness and ignorance. The highest goal is to rise above all three through wisdom, self-control, and devotion to God. Simple summary: if I had to explain this entire chapter in one sentence, it would be this: understand the qualities that influence your mind. Strengthen goodness, reduce ignorance and selfish desire, and slowly rise above them through devotion, wisdom, and right action. That is the essence of Gunatraya Vibhaga Yoga. A quick look at the next chapter. In chapter 15, the Yoga of the Supreme Person, Purushottama Yoga, Krishna uses the beautiful example of an upside-down tree to explain the nature of the world. He reveals why we become attached to the material world, how the soul is connected to God, and why he is called the Supreme Person, Purushottama, who is beyond both the changing world and the eternal soul. Chapter 15. The Yoga of the Supreme Person, Purushottama Yoga. Friend, in the previous chapter, Krishna explained the three gunas that influence every human being. Now, he wanted Arjuna to understand the true nature of the world and the soul's relationship with God. Krishna began with a beautiful and unusual example: the upside-down tree. Krishna said, imagine a great tree whose roots are above and whose branches spread downward. Arjuna found this strange. Krishna explained, the roots above represent God, the supreme source of all creation. The branches below represent the material world, our relationships, desires, wealth, achievements, and everyday life. The tree teaches us that, although our true source is God, we often become so attached to the branches that we forget our roots. Why do people become attached? Krishna explained that people become trapped in the world because of endless desires, pride, greed, attachment, and the belief that temporary things can give permanent happiness. There is nothing wrong with living in the world. The problem begins when we believe that the world is our final destination. How can we be free? Arjuna asked. Lord, if this tree represents the world, how can a person become free from its attachments? Krishna replied, cut down this tree with the axe of detachment. This does not mean leaving your family or responsibilities. It means let go of greed, let go of ego, stop depending on temporary things for lasting happiness. Keep your heart connected to God while doing your duties. This is the path to true freedom. The soul is part of God. Krishna then revealed one of the most beautiful truths in the Bhagavad Gita. He said, every living soul is an eternal part of me. Just as a spark comes from a great fire, or a drop comes from the ocean, every soul comes from the Supreme. Although we appear separate, our true nature is forever connected with God. God lives in every heart. Krishna reminded Arjuna, I dwell in the hearts of all living beings. He is the source of memory, wisdom, and understanding. Whenever we choose truth over falsehood, kindness over hatred, or wisdom over ignorance, we move closer to the divine presence already within us. Why is Krishna called the Supreme Person? Arjuna asked. Lord, why are you called Purushottama, the Supreme Person? Krishna explained, everything in the material world changes, even the body changes. The soul is eternal. But beyond both the changing world and the individual soul stands the supreme reality, the one who creates, sustains, and guides everything. That supreme being is called Purushottama. A simple example: imagine a tree standing beside a river. Its branches spread in many directions. People admire its leaves, flowers, and fruits. But everything depends on one thing: its roots. If the roots are healthy, the whole tree thrives. Krishna says our spiritual life is the same. If we remain connected to our true root, God, our life becomes meaningful and strong. What can we learn from this chapter? God is the root of all existence. The material world is temporary, but the soul is eternal. Every soul is an eternal part of God. Attachment causes suffering, while detachment brings freedom. Staying connected to God gives life its true purpose. Simple summary: if I had to explain this entire chapter in one sentence, it would be this: never forget your true source. Live in the world, fulfill your responsibilities, but keep your heart connected to God, because your soul belongs to Him. That is the essence of Purushottama Yoga. A quick look at the next chapter in chapter 16, the Yoga of Divine and Demonic Qualities, Devasura Sampad Vibhaga Yoga. Krishna explains the difference between two kinds of human nature. He teaches the qualities that lead us toward peace and spiritual growth, the habits that lead us toward suffering and downfall, and how every person can choose the path of goodness. Chapter 16. The Yoga of Divine and Demonic Qualities, Devasura Sampad Vibhaga Yoga. Friend, after explaining our connection with God, Krishna wanted Arjuna to understand another important truth. He said, Arjuna, every human being has the freedom to choose how they live. Some qualities lead a person toward peace and wisdom, while others lead toward suffering and destruction. This chapter teaches us how to recognize those qualities within ourselves. Divine qualities. Krishna first describe the qualities of a person who walks the path of righteousness. Such a person is fearless in doing what is right, honest and truthful, kind and compassionate, humble, instead of proud, patient and forgiving, self-controlled, calm, even during difficulties, respectful toward others, devoted to God. These qualities bring inner peace and help create a better world. Demonic qualities. Krishna then describe the qualities that pull people away from wisdom. Such a person is often arrogant, proud, dishonest, selfish, angry, greedy, jealous, cruel, unwilling to accept their mistakes. These qualities may seem powerful for a short time, but they eventually lead to unhappiness and downfall. The biggest trap. Krishna warned Arjuna about pride. He said, when a person starts thinking, I am better than everyone else, I don't need anyone, I can do whatever I want, they slowly lose their wisdom. Pride closes the door to learning. Humility keeps it open. A humble person continues to grow throughout life. The three gates to destruction. Krishna then shared one of the most famous teachings in the Bhagavad Gita. He said, there are three gates that lead to destruction: desire, anger, and greed. Uncontrolled desire makes people chase things without end. Anger destroys peace, and clear thinking, greed, makes people forget the difference between right and wrong. Krishna advised Arjuna to stay away from all three, choosing the right path. Arjuna asked, Lord, how can a person know what is right? Krishna replied, use wisdom, follow truth, live according to righteousness. Do not let anger, greed, or ego make your decisions. When your heart is calm and your intentions are pure, you naturally move toward the right path. Look within yourself. Krishna did not say that people are simply good or bad. Instead, he taught that everyone has both divine and negative tendencies. The important question is, which qualities are we feeding every day? Every kind word strengthens our divine nature. Every selfish action strengthens our negative nature. Our daily choices shape our character. A simple example: imagine two gardens. One is cared for every day. The weeds are removed, the flowers are watered, soon it becomes beautiful. The other garden is ignored, weeds grow everywhere, the flowers disappear. Our mind is just like these gardens. Good habits make it bloom. Bad habits slowly take over. What can we learn from this chapter? Good character is more valuable than wealth or power. Humility, kindness, truth, and self-control lead to peace. Pride, anger, greed, and dishonesty lead to suffering. Every person has the freedom to choose which qualities to develop. Small daily choices shape our future. Simple summary: if I had to explain this entire chapter in one sentence, it would be this: become the kind of person whose actions are guided by truth, kindness, humility, and self-control, because these qualities lead to lasting peace and bring you closer to God. That is the essence of Devasura Sampad Vibhaga Yoga. A quick look at the next chapter in chapter 17, the Yoga of the Threefold Faith, Shraddha Traya Vibhaga Yoga. Arjuna asks another thoughtful question. He wants to understand why people have different kinds of faith, how food, charity, worship, and discipline are influenced by our nature, and what true faith really looks like. Krishna explains that the value of an action depends not only on what we do, but also on the intention behind it. Chapter 17, the Yoga of the Threefold Faith, Shraddha Traya Vibhaga Yoga. Friend, in the previous chapter, Krishna explained the difference between divine and demonic qualities. After listening carefully, Arjuna had another important question. He asked, "Lord, what about people who have faith and worship sincerely, but do not fully understand the scriptures? What kind of faith do they have?" Krishna smiled and answered, "Arjuna, every person's faith reflects their inner nature. As a person's faith is, so is the person." What is faith? Krishna explained that faith is much more than performing rituals. Faith is the deep belief that guides the way we think, act, and live. It influences our decisions, our habits, and even our goals in life. That is why different people have different kinds of faith. Three types of faith. Just as nature has three gunas, sattva, rajas, and tamas, faith also has three forms. 1. Sattvic faith. A person with sattvic faith worships with sincerity, seeks truth rather than fame, helps others without expecting rewards, lives honestly, and peacefully, acts with kindness and compassion. Their devotion is pure because it comes from love, not selfish desire. 2. Rajasic faith. A person with rajasic faith may worship God, but often with a personal motive. For example, to gain wealth, to achieve success, to become famous, to receive recognition or power. Their faith is real, but it is mixed with personal desires. 3. Tamasic faith. A person with tamasic faith acts without wisdom or understanding. They may follow blind beliefs, harm themselves or others in the name of religion, ignore truth and common sense, perform actions without thinking about their consequences. Krishna teaches that true faith should always be guided by wisdom. Food shapes the mind. Krishna then explained something surprising. He said that even the food we eat influences our thoughts and behavior. Sattvic food, fresh, clean, healthy, and nourishing food, gives energy, clarity, and peace. It supports both the body and the mind. Rajasic food, very spicy, extremely sour, overly salty, or excessively stimulating food may create restlessness and impatience. Tamasic food, stale, spoiled, or unhealthy food, weakens both the body and the mind. Krishna's message is simple. What we eat can influence how we feel and think. Charity done the right way. Krishna also explained that charity is not only about giving money. The way we give is equally important. Sattvic, to the right person at the right time, without expecting anything in return, with kindness and respect. This is the highest form of charity. Rajasic, charity giving only to receive praise, recognition, or some benefit in return. Tamasic, charity giving carelessly, to the wrong purpose, or insulting the person while giving. Such charity loses its true value. The power of good words. Krishna taught that discipline is not only physical. The way we speak also matters. Speaking truthfully, kindly, respectfully, and at the right time is itself a form of spiritual practice. Words have the power to heal or to hurt. Choose them wisely. Om Tat Sat. At the end of the chapter, Krishna explains the sacred expression Om Tat Sat. It reminds us that every good action should be performed with sincerity, without selfishness, and dedicated to the supreme truth. When our intention is pure, even ordinary actions become meaningful. A simple example: imagine two people giving the same gift. One gives it only to receive praise. The other gives it quietly, simply to help someone in need. The gift may be the same, but the intention makes all the difference. Krishna teaches that God looks at the heart behind every action. What can we learn from this chapter? Faith shapes the way we live. Pure intentions are more important than outward appearances. Healthy food, kind speech, and selfless charity help purify the mind. Every action becomes meaningful when it is done with sincerity. And wisdom. God values the intention behind our actions more than the size of our offering. Simple summary: if I had to explain this entire chapter in one sentence, it would be this: true faith is not measured by rituals but by the purity of your heart, your intentions, and the way you treat others every day. That is the essence of Shraddha Traya Vibhaga Yoga. A quick look at the next chapter. In Chapter 18, the Yoga of Liberation through Renunciation, Moksha Sannyasa Yoga, Krishna brings together all the teachings of the Bhagavad Gita. He explains the true meaning of renunciation, the purpose of duty, the secret of lasting peace, and finally leaves Arjuna with one powerful message. I have shared all this wisdom with you. Now think carefully and choose your path with your own understanding. This chapter is the grand conclusion of the Bhagavad Gita, Chapter 18. The Yoga of Liberation Through Renunciation. Moksha Sannyasa Yoga Friend. This is the final chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. By now, Arjuna had listened to Krishna's teachings about the soul, duty, knowledge, meditation, devotion, wisdom, and the purpose of life. One final question remained in his heart. He asked, Lord, what is the true meaning of renunciation? Is it giving up work or is it giving up attachment? Krishna smiled. This chapter would bring together everything he had taught so far. What is true renunciation? Krishna explained. True renunciation does not mean running away from your responsibilities. It means giving up selfish desires, letting go of ego, not becoming attached to success or failure, performing your duties with honesty and sincerity. Leaving your work is not real renunciation. Leaving your selfishness is everyone has a purpose. Krishna reminded Arjuna that every person has unique abilities and responsibilities. Some people teach, some protect, some create, some serve. No work is small when it is done honestly. Instead of comparing yourself with others, focus on performing your own duty with dedication, knowledge, action, and the doer. Krishna explained that our actions are influenced by the three gunas, sattva, rajas, and tamas, the way we think, the way we work, and even the attitude with which we perform our duties can all be pure, selfish, or ignorant. The goal is to act with wisdom, humility, and selflessness. Success needs more than effort. Krishna said that success depends on many factors. Our effort is important, but so are the right circumstances, the support of others, the opportunities we receive, and God's grace. Therefore, we should never become arrogant after success or hopeless after failure. Do your best, then leave the result to God. The secret of peace. Krishna then repeated one of his greatest teachings. Perform your duty without attachment to the results. When we work only for rewards, our happiness rises and falls with success. But when we work because it is the right thing to do, we remain peaceful in every situation. This is true inner freedom. The final teaching at the end of the Gita. Krishna looked at Arjuna with great love and said, I have shared this sacred wisdom with you. Now think deeply about it and decide for yourself. Krishna did not force Arjuna. He respected Arjuna's freedom to choose. Then he gave his final and most powerful message. Take refuge in me with all your heart. I will guide you and free you from fear. Do not worry. This is the heart of the Bhagavad Gita, faith, surrender, and trust in God. Arjuna's transformation. When the conversation began, Arjuna was confused, afraid, and unwilling to fight. Now, after hearing Krishna's teachings, everything had changed. Arjuna said, My doubts are gone. My mind is clear. I remember who I truly am. I will follow your guidance. He picked up his bow once again, not because he hated anyone, but because he now understood his duty. He was ready to act with courage, wisdom, and faith. A simple example. Imagine a student preparing for an important exam. At first, they are full of fear and self-doubt. A wise teacher patiently explains every lesson, answers every question, and gives them confidence. The exam has not changed, but the student has. That is exactly what happened to Arjuna. The battlefield remained the same. The person facing it became wiser, calmer, and stronger. What can we learn from this chapter? True renunciation means giving up attachment, not. Every person has a unique purpose in life. Success comes through effort, wisdom, and God's grace. Work sincerely without becoming attached to the outcome. Trust God, perform your duty, and face life with courage. The complete message of the Bhagavad Gita. If I had to explain the entire Bhagavad Gita in one simple message, it would be this. You are not just the body, you are the eternal soul. Live with honesty, perform your duties without selfish attachment, control your mind, love and trust God, treat everyone with kindness, and never lose courage in the face of life's challenges. When you surrender your ego and walk the path of truth, wisdom, and devotion, you find real peace and true freedom. This is the timeless message of the Bhagavad Gita. The end of the journey. With this final teaching, Krishna completed his divine guidance. Arjuna stood up with confidence. His fear had disappeared. His confusion had turned into clarity, and with complete faith in Krishna, he moved forward to fulfill his duty. This is where the Bhagavad Gita ends, but its teachings continue to guide millions of people around the world even today. Thank you for reading, dear friend. If you've reached this page, congratulations. You have just completed the journey of the Bhagavad Gita, one of the greatest spiritual conversations ever shared with humanity. The Gita is not just a religious book. It is a guide for everyday life. It teaches us how to stay calm during difficult times, make the right decisions, perform our duties honestly, and live with courage, wisdom, and compassion. The core lessons of the Bhagavad Gita always remember these simple teachings. You are not just the body. You are the eternal soul. Do your duty sincerely without worrying about the results. Control your mind instead of letting your mind control you. Stay humble during success and strong during failure. Treat everyone with kindness and respect. Let go of ego, anger, greed, and fear. Trust God and have faith in His plan. Live honestly, help others, and keep learning every day. These simple principles can bring peace, happiness, and purpose to life. A personal message. I hope this summary helped you understand the Bhagavad Gita in a simple and friendly way. This book wasn't written just to be read once. Read it again whenever life becomes confusing. Every time you return to it, you'll discover a new lesson. The Bhagavad Gita has inspired millions of people for thousands of years, and it can continue to guide us in our own lives as well. One final quote: when life becomes difficult, remember Krishna's message. Do your duty with honesty, keep faith in God, and never let fear stop you from doing what is right. Thank you, Red Heart, you for reading this complete summary of the Bhagavad Gita. May your life be filled with peace, cherry blossom, wisdom, open book, courage, devotion, folded hands, happiness, smiling face with smiling eyes.